We have taken the top off another year. Think about that for a second. Sometimes when you're living, you're doing your thing, you hustle, you bustle, and you're moving around. And we move the calendars. We take off this month. We take off that. We mark the calendars, things that we might have to do. But we don't think about how really we're blessed. Maybe we do. Maybe I should say we don't think about it, but taking time out to think how blessed we are to live through the years. I remember years ago, it was 1999, man, and people were freaking out what 2000 was going to be like, what was going to happen. And guess what? We're in 2025. Yes, we are. It's When Black Men Talk. Mark Elliott, Mr. Reese, Mr. Charles. I'm going to come to you first, Mr. Charles, with this. The top of 2025 has been taken off. We're still here, man. Things have happened. They came up with new name for viruses, new name for this. We got cars now that basically look like Martians. But guess what, my brother? We're here. We're going to get some things. I'll come to you first. Happy, happy, happy to you.
Happy to everyone, and particularly to you. Yeah, I just think that the knowing that what we've overcome, like you said, the viruses, also so many other things with people feeling some kind of way about the way this country in America is going, or think it's going to go. Yeah, you got to put it in perspective. When you have a new year, you have an opportunity to do some other things. You can make changes. You can still be great and do some things that really can affect your life. And the fact that you still have life and you're breathing, every day is another opportunity. So, with that being said, and understanding what that is, you just have to be very thankful. And instead of being mad at what you're not able to do or what you do not have, why not come up with a plan to go, hey, by the way, I'm coming up with this plan to see what else I can do to be great and just make myself a better person, put myself in a better position. Because you can, you just got to believe it first.
I'm with you 100% there, man. A lot of times we spend a lot of energy and determination trying to get somewhere. It reminds me of an old gospel song. You don't have to wait till you get to heaven to shout. You can start shouting right now, Miss Maurice. Giving thanks. Happy, happy, happy to you, boss.
Yeah, happy New Year, as everyone says, and new opportunities and new challenges that we face. And yeah, man, I've been talking to a coworker not too long ago, and she was talking about her plans on further her education. She was like, "Listen, it's free, and we can do this together." So she put that in my head, and I'm like, "Man!" Just when I thought it was over, I'm thinking about this. But yeah, it's when the seasons change, it reminds us that the time is going on, and I kind of like it in the wintertime. A lot of people like summer. I know Mark likes summer, and I like the winter. I like to be in my man moo in front of my heater and in my recliner, chilling out. So I hope everybody has new goals and stick to those goals and try to be better because I try to be better every day. So I know people wait until a year. So try to be better. Take it step by step. Try to be better each and every day. Maybe even break it down each and every hour or a half hour or a minute. Try to be better.
There it is, man. Yeah, the moo moo, huh? Yeah, I just like a fireplace in winter, boss. Give
I
me a
was funny, man.
fireplace. Yeah, what? Yeah. Give me a fireplace. I'll handle winter with a fireplace, but you're right. I like it hot. Giving thanks, man. I mean, realistically, it sounds simple, but think about the years that you have traveled through, the years that are behind you, and that you have woken up every single morning with air to breathe, with your heart basically pumping blood. And if that doesn't bring you to thankfulness, I don't know what will. I just have no idea what will. Gentlemen, there's a time in our history, in our lifetime, when certain things happen, we would find a way basically to celebrate them, historical things. They went on, we looked around and we just found a way to kind of really get excited. When I say celebrate, I don't mean basically grab bottles of champagne and do that, but we kind of celebrated a sense of pride and felt good about accomplishments, even if it weren't us personally achieving something. Well, look at this young man that's 39 years old. Marcus Freeman became the first head coach of Notre Dame, and within 2 years, this cat basically, I should say, the first head coach that's going to play in, the college football national championship game, be the head coach. Now he's the first Black and Asian American to do such. But I want to go back to his age because he's 39 years of age, and he's only been the head coach at Notre Dame for 2 years. Now, when he took the job, there was some distractors. Some people basically thought, yeah, what's he going to do? You had a loudmouth, a fat loudmouth that was there, left the team, moved on, haven't had much success, but yet they saw something about young Marcus Freeman, decided, you know what, we're going to put him in charge of young men. And I saw a video recently where when the fat mouth was there, he stopped a tradition. They were
Yeah.
going, yeah, he stopped a tradition where they would go inside this cathedral and pray. And Marcus is like, no, we're going back to that. And I think a lot of times as coaches, I look at coaches, they forget that you have young, impressionable souls in front of you. Stop being a jackass. Stop making it about you. Yeah, they're paying you a lot of money, but you probably haven't done it to deserve this. But this man basically took them back to that. And these young men, I watched them play a few nights ago. It seemed like they were running through a wall for this cat. And that says a lot. And basically, I look at him, how he's basically progressed in the past 2 years to the point where now, of course, he's playing in the first championship game, Mr. DeMaurice, but you live in Chicago. And the word has it that Chicago Bears want to interview him for the head coach for the Chicago Bears franchise. Now, he may not get the job, but think about this realistically. 2 years ago, we didn't really know who Marcus Freeman was. We had no clue. We didn't know he was half black, half Asian. We had no idea. Look how God has used this man to elevate him to the point to where he just may become the head coach of the Chicago Bears. And we all know, we look at that position sometimes and we can't even imagine a man that looked like Marcus Freeman taking the leadership of that position. Your response, Mr. DeVries.
I have to congratulate him because I am not a Notre Dame fan, but he makes it real hard to root against Notre Dame because of the way he presents himself. I saw that interview too, where he went back to the tradition. It's not about him, even though he won the game the other night against Penn State. It was a hard-fought game. I got to catch the second half of it, and they mentioned that on the podium, and he said, "Hey, it's I appreciate that, but it's not about me. It's about this team." And his predecessor was not a leader of men. I mean, he doesn't take accountability for anything, but Coach Freeman takes accountability, and he makes sure that. And I thought the season was done after they lost that early game to a Northern Illinois, but he used that as a motivator to get them in the position he's in now. Yeah, and I saw the interview where he's gone back to the traditions. He's gone back to what make Notre Dame Notre Dame. You don't, as a coach at Notre Dame, you don't need to try to be bigger in life or you're never going to be bigger than the university. So I think he took that approach and said, let's go back to what made this university a powerhouse in football from the get-go. And let's use that as our motivating guide to get to where we need to get in this program. So I'm rooting for the brother. I don't know if they'll win the next game. I really don't care. But I really admire what he's been able to do with that program because he's shown that he's a true leader of men. And you're right. You see those young players in those interviews. They really respect him and really respect what he's brought to that program. They want to play there. How many kids want to play at a university? Like, I want to stay here and I want to play. And that says a lot about his character and his integrity and trying to build not only a program that of winning football, but a builder of men.
Yeah, this young man can not only coach, he can lead young men, Mr. Charles. To me, he's the epitome of a coach. What I would want, basically, if I had a son and I was bringing him to a university to basically be coached by, it would be someone such as Marcus Freeman. Your thoughts, Mr. Charles?
Yeah, this is it's bizarre watching Marcus Freeman grow and also be so successful at this age. Because for those that are aware,
Mm-hmm.
we you don't expect nothing less. He's an Ohio native, bro.
Yeah,
OHT and all
yeah,
day.
yeah.
You know,
Play for Ohio State.
yeah, went
Yeah.
to Ohio State, actually from the suburb of my hometown, Dayton, Ohio. Played for Wayne High School
Mm-hmm.
and went to the Ohio State University, and then after college, he started to get into coaching. And I think when you really look at the tree, it kind of makes a lot of sense. So he got a lot of his training as an assistant at Ohio State. And then from there, he moved on and followed another former Buckeye, Luke Fickle, who went to Cincinnati. and he was like his defensive coordinator. And just those opportunities, he ran with them. And Marcus Freeman really showed what he was capable. And when he got his shot, particularly at Notre Dame, he did second to none. So I'm happy for him. I think it says a lot about who he is. I had a chance to kind of chop it up with him a little bit and connect with him. He's a really good dude. And what he's saying is real. He really means what he says, and he's about the young man, and he wants to see them with the opportunity. So I'm happy for him, but we already know it's about to come full circle. So I'm happy for you, Marcus. But we already look, like you say, look. It's like when you challenge the master or daddy. Daddy, you're gonna challenge daddy. You've been teaching you all these lessons, and we're gonna pray for you. We're gonna work, hope everything works for you. But we're gonna holler at you next Monday for real.
Hey, Mark, I want to say one more thing. The Chicago Bears organization don't deserve this guy. Please, you're good at Notre Dame. Wait for another, NFL job. If that's your goal, Coach Freeman, wait for another NFL job. You do not want to come to this dumpster fire. As long as this family owns this team, and as long as they're so disorganized in their organization, they don't deserve you. They don't deserve a coach like you, because they're going to make it very hard for you to change the culture. And that's what you did at Notre Dame. You went back to the tradition. I don't know if they're trying to go back to the traditions of the Chicago Bears. And if they do, it's going to be cheap. You're not going to get any players, and you're not going to get any help. So don't ruin your career by coming to Chicago. And I think Chicago deserves a winner, but please don't waste your time until they make some major changes in the organization. Please.
Can I throw one
um,
other thing in there?
yes, sir. Please.
So I'm gonna say he ain't got to worry about that, bro, because he gonna want to win that championship. So I don't think he's gonna be fulfilled until he does that. And after
Ooh.
Monday, yeah, he be back. Yeah, he ain't got to worry about that. Don't worry about that. He ain't got to worry about that,
But
bro.
Winky
I want
dinky
to.
dog.
Oh, look out, bro. I want to address that because it sounds like you got a good layer of hate there, Mr. D. Reese, man. I'm gonna tell you
No, no,
something, man.
no, no, no,
No,
no, no. I'm
no.
saying, man, I've seen look what they did to Lovey. He was a winning coach.
Okay, okay,
They
okay,
won
okay.
six.
I got you, man. But I look at it like this, from this respect, and that you kind of lead to where I was kind of going to about giving the opportunity. And I hear you, and you're making. Don't get me wrong. I feel where you are with Chicago Bears franchise, but for the most part, when he took over Notre Dame, it was kind of like the same thing. You had an idiot there. They've been making dumb choices as a head coach. Look what he's done in 2 years. So my point is, I go back to Martin Luther King Jr., who has a birthday coming up soon. And that whole part of that whole movement, the civil rights movement, was basically given the opportunity. That's all we asked for. That's all we ever wanted in this country. We became free as a race of people. We just want a fair shot. And to this day, we're still fighting for that. We just want a fair shot to have an opportunity to show what we're capable of. Don't look at the color of my skin. Look what I can produce. Look what I can do. Check out my skills, my character. So I'm going to kind of throw that up against, when I look at the Chicago Bears organization, yes, they are who they are. They are who we think they are. But in reality, I look at this man at 39 years old, and it can go the wrong way. Don't get me wrong. You get a chance to take over the franchise as a head coach at 39. To me, you got to take it, Mr. Charles. I'm gonna come to you with this first because and I'll come back to you first with you because you spoke of it. Because to me, you got to take it because I sat around. I've been watching football for many years, and and we can't even count how many idiots these general managers hired. Old, dumb, bumbling hot coaches over and over again into good situations don't pan out. And I remember years ago, my sister said this to me one morning. It was, I was trying to get a job in radio. And one morning I was taking her to work. And she turned the radio on and she listened to this guy. And she said, "You're just as good, if not better than him. You knew he'd be on there." And I was like, "Damn, you're right, sis. Like, stop playing games, stop holding yourself back." Not that I was thinking that, but when she said that's what I felt. It's like, so my point is, let this young man, if he's given the opportunity, Mr. Maurice, I hear you, but he's given an opportunity to coach one of the historic franchise in NFL history. Take that job, bro. I don't care if you lose, whatever. Take the job. So I'm gonna come back to you with that twist and see your reaction about it, Mr. Maurice.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. I would rather him stay at Notre Dame for a while, build that program to where it's supposed to be, and because he's going to get the money, he'll get paid more at Notre Dame than he will with the Chicago Bears. But I also believe in sometimes you have to kind of scope out the right opportunities, the right situations to kind of step in and do your thing. Because if we don't have magic. We're not magical people. I mean, we don't do magic and then just throw pixie dust on the situation and it happens. I believe he got a lot of support from the Notre Dame alumni, the fans, the players to build that program back to where um, he needed it to be. I'm not sure. By just being here in Chicago and watching how they work, they're more concerned about they're going to make money because everybody's going to go there, like blind mice and just support the team. But if he's going to do it, he needs to get his people in, clear out a lot of things with the Chicago Bears because it's kind of going into a situation like I think Crable's going into now because he's a new head coach in New England. There's nothing there. There's nothing there, and there's an organization where, um, you know, they're not going to change their old ways. They're going to put a new face on it to make it exciting and make it look new, but it's still going to be the same old bullshit that they've been pushing for the last for the last few years from the '85 Bears Super Bowl. So you get an opportunity to coach in the NFL. I get it. Go take it. I'm not sure the Bears, the organization like the Bears, the Cowboys, and the Patriots are great opportunities to do that. Yeah. That will allow you to grow and allow you to put your people in place to do that. And I specifically say that because the ownership is screwed up.
No, I'm with you with the ownership, man. I'm looking at the opportunity, but I'll say this: whenever he decides to come, it's not going to be a highly class organization because they keep winning. And there's only 30 so many jobs. I think it's like 32, Mr. Charles, 32 or
Yeah.
31.
Yeah.
So in reality, it's not like he's looking for a wife. I'll pass on that one. I'll wait for this one to come. Nah, Pat, bro. You might have to dance with an ugly broad, Mr. Charles. Just,
I,
just,
not gonna
just
be
to
able to
kind of,
do it, bro. Not
you
gonna be
might have
able
to
to
do it.
do
See, I know you, Mr. D. Reese. You can't dance ugly, bro. You might have to dance with an out of shape, ugly broad, bro, just to get to the party. I mean, I know, Mr. Charles. I don't know if you're gonna put your tux on to do that, Mr. Charles, but sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. The opportunity, Mr. Charles, we're speaking of because we fought as a country, as a race of people in this country, just to be given the opportunity. And sometimes with the opportunity, I look at us, we have gotten so high polluted to where we don't want certain opportunities. We sit around waiting for the best, great opportunity, and sometimes the one that's in front of you is the best one that may you ever be presented. Your response, Mr. Charles.
Yeah, this is a little tricky one because I'm on the fence and both of y'all on one side, one and another guy on the other side. So I got to tread lightly with this one. But so I had to really think about this. I was like, I'm glad he took me second, brought me in second. But no, I think overall, I see about the opportunity. I do agree about when opportunity comes, sometimes you got to take it and whatnot. But the Bears are they're different. They're a different girl. Because even that ugly girl, you say, well, she got potential. I think if I get her in the gym, get her walking a little bit, throw a little makeup on her, she look a little bit better. The Bears, they're a different monster. And what I mean by that is the fact that they're so desperate to win right now that they have no conscience of what they're doing. And Freeman, the problem I have with it is I don't know how much time he will receive from them
Yeah.
because and that's the main thing. Not saying he couldn't do a good job, but I think for him, even it was mentioned earlier about New England. I think New England will at least give you a little time. I mean, the Mayo situation was everybody, oh, that was messed up. Only thing they promised Mayo in New England was the opportunity. They never said how long, and that's what you got to pay attention to. They did what they said they were going to do. They gave him the shot. It didn't work for a year, and technically, they said he was really interim, right? He was just he was a placeholder for what they really wanted. But getting back to Chicago, it comes back to I don't think they would give they might, but I'm not sure Freeman would have enough time. So if he wants to take it and want to try it, hey, who are we to say? don't do it because that's a great opportunity. But in order for him to be really successful in the way that they're handling it, I would hope that he would get another shot, do something else with another team. So only because how desperate this Chicago is. You went through how many quarterbacks? Keep going through this. You don't know what you want to do. I think it is as DeMarie said, it's a dumpster fire. It's ugly. Plus two, certain things you can't change. I ain't trying to be funny, but some things are just, I ain't saying they just horrible, but it's a difference between ugly and ruined, bruh. The Chicago Bears are ruined. My dad would say that. Is he ugly? He ugly? No, he ruined, bruh. You can't make that change.
Roy,
That's
damn.
googly, boy.
That
Damn.
rule. Okay, wow. That took Oakley to a new level. I will say this, and I hear you two gentlemen about the Chicago. See, that's to me when you handle the paperwork. That's when you go in there because they want you maybe more than you want them, and that's when you handle the paperwork and you get it in writing for the most part. I want this. I want within. If you basically decide to fire me, this is what I get in less than 3 to 5 years. Because if they want you, they'll sign on it. So if they do decide to basically walk away from you, not giving an opportunity, hey, no love lost. You got what you basically came for. You walk into a situation like that, you basically write the check that you want, and you get it signed the way you want. And sometimes we forget the power that we have. We're looking at what we're going into. They got all the power, but when they're knocking on your door, they're knocking on your door for a reason, because there's many doors they can knock on. So, Mr. Freeman, if they're knocking on your door, they done interviewed a slew of coaches already, a slew, which says to me they're not happy with them. They're not. So they knock on your door for a reason. So go in there, do what you have to do. If they decide they want to dance with you, you let them know what type of music you're going to play, what type of where you want them to dance, and you get it in writing. So if they choose not to dance the samba, if they choose not to dance slow, guess what? You walk away with your head up high and get what you came in there for. Gentlemen, the past few weeks, man, I was hearing this coming to me, and I was trying to find the song behind this. It kept saying, "Don't let the sun go down on me." Now, originally, that song was recorded years ago by Elton John, and I knew the Winans recorded a version of it. So I was trying to get their version. I kept, hitting different places, and no one had their version. So I came back and I was able. Someone said to me, "Here's the video." They sent me the video. A good person to me did, and I looked at the video, and the song didn't kind of vibrate like I thought it was, but it left me. It made me go back and really kind of pay attention to the sun going down on us. And there's a Bible verse, basically, that don't let the sun go down in your anger and give no opportunity to the devil. And I thought back and I said to myself, man, as I read that, I remember when I was married, and I got married in my mid 20s. And I said to the woman that became my wife, I don't want us to go to bed angry. We're not to basically go to bed angry. If we have to go to bed angry, or there's something that's basically between us that we haven't settled, we're going to table that when it's time to go to bed, and we could pick it up tomorrow another time. But we're not to go to bed angry. We're not to bring angry stuff and arguments into the bedroom. Now, at the time, I wasn't aware of this basic passage. Don't let the sun go down on you. Don't let the sun go down on your anger. But I just felt that, in my heart. And anger, Mr. DeMaurice, is basically a destructive. It's a thing that basically, if it sits in your system too long, it's allowed to fester. Anger
Mm.
itself is not evil, but anger itself can lead to evil. And a lot of times, man, you can stand back and look at different situations where anger has led us and other people to do things that we tend to regret later on. So basically, I would come to you first with this one, sir. When you think about not letting the sun go down, excuse me, and moving it into the Bible verse, how has it manifest itself in your life?
Yeah, it's anger can be very, very destructive to your health. And so I think what anger also does, and you said it earlier about how it festers, it can even get in your dreams and have you, dreaming about some weird stuff that even get you even more angry, because now you're being used by the enemy. And, you let your anger kind of linger on, and then you start to fester, and then you start to you get to the point where you're past anger and you're trying to figure out what you're going to do to the person that made you angry. And that's at some dangerous territory right there. I'll never forget one of my good friends, Norman, who lives in Texas. His mother, who ran the Head Start sites in West Texas, she told me about her and her late husband and how they used to handle fights. And so she said that, and I might have mentioned this on the show, that when they get in that bedroom, they're not allowed to fight. Now, they can fight in any other room. When they get in that bedroom, they're not allowed to fight. And I think she said she was angry at him about something. And she was waiting in the living room for him to get home. She had put the kids to bed. I mean, she was prepared for battle. And so she heard some noise rattling in the bedroom. And what he did, her late husband did, is crawl through the window in the bedroom. She opened the door, saw him in the bedroom, was like, "You can't say nothing because we in the bedroom." And she said they both fell out laughing. And they forgot what they were going to get ready to argue about. And so I thought that was a great kind of, if I ever get married again, I'm like, okay, this is where we have our peace, our fortune of solitude, that we don't argue here, because I can't wait to crawl through the window when I know I'm messed up on something to avoid an argument.
Oh man, talk about being creative. I love that, man. That's a creative stuff right there. my man, my man, my man, my man, my man. Anger is destructive, Mr. Charles. I mean, that's nothing new to anyone, man. And sometimes, interesting enough, man, with the evil spirit, the spirit of basically coming to you, you can call it the devil, whatever you want to call it. Anger can start to become your friend. It really can. It can start to become a thing that you start to enjoy. And that's to me, you have to be real careful with, because that's beyond festering. You spoke to that submissive. That's way beyond festering, man. We start to kind of feel good to you. So I think if we would all kind of institute not letting the sun go down, or some form of fashion, or anger, there's plenty of benefit there. But your response to it, Mr. Charles, because the sun is going down, you're mad at something. I'll give you something to be mad at, man. I won the NBA or the college thing 3 times in a row. It's the sun going down, man. It's 5 o'clock Central Time. You mad, Mr. Charles? Your response, my brother.
You know what? I told myself I'm gonna be better this year, despite the transgressions and all of the madness that comes my way, because I'm gonna be the better person. And despite how often I am triggered and teased and taunted, I'm gonna be a better person because I know who I'm connected with. I'm gonna be a better person, and no matter what you try to do, I'm not turning another cheek, and I'm gonna still slap the shit out of you. Come at me, anyway. But I will have a higher tolerance of dealing with things of this nature. So, in regards to the question about anger, let me clarify this properly. Getting back to the point. So I think with anger, though, a lot of times when we get angry, we get angry with things we can't control, right? And that's what makes people mad, and particularly if you feel like it's unfair. And maybe relationships may be a little different because it's two people and they're working together. But on life in general, sometimes it comes down to fairness. And if you think it's not fair, you like it's hard to let something go because you're like, well, man, that doesn't make any sense. You don't have any rationale behind it as to why, right? And I think that's where really the frustration comes into play because you get so mad, you go, man, this is some BS, blah blah blah. But I think the key to this verse for me anyway is to say, okay, well, yeah, I can't make that, I can't make a change there. I can't do anything with it. So instead of that anger festering and me trying to get some get back or me find another way to try to put it in my favor so I feel better, I think that's where a relationship with God or the creator comes a long way. Because even in some very serious moments, if you can't make a change and instead of going to bed mad or even festering in your system where it can mess with your mental and even your health, you got to give it to him, man. Some things you just say, look, damn, I've done everything I can do. I'm putting myself out there, nothing else I can do, but I need to have this resolved. And if you have the connection or the relationship that you say you do with the Lord or the Creator, for me, it works, bro. It works. I mean, I go to sleep. I'm able to sleep. I'm able to move on, and I deal with the results. And I can't tell you there are times that it did not come to a point where, even though if it meant I lost a job, I had to leave a job, I had to leave a relationship or a situation, whatever it may be. In the end, as we move forward, I was better. And at the end of the day, that's all you can ask for.
There are times
Can I
when,
add something real quick?
yes, sir, please do.
The reason why I really bought into the concept of this particular kung fu style that I'm studying called Wing Chun, because it teaches you when to use your energy and when not to use it. And I just transformed that right into life. Is this really worth my energy to kind of deal with this, or think about this, or contemplate this? And if it's not, you leave it alone. You leave it alone. So it's when to turn that energy on, when to turn that energy off, and especially with anger. It's like, is it really worth me being angry about this? And once I bought into that concept, I'm like, man, I can do this in life. Does this really need my energy? Do I really want to exhaust my energy with this particular situation I'm in that's going to make me angry, going to get me stressed out? And then you think it through and you go, no, it doesn't. And you just let it go. And I can't tell you how beneficial that's been in my life for the last 7-8 years, man. That is, I mean, I wish everybody could kind of look at it like that it's not worth my energy and time. So I'm not going to spend it. And I've saved so much time doing that.
Good stuff right there, Mr. DeMaurice. I want to piggyback what Mr. Charles says because to me, that's the ultimate right there, man, to dealing with anger. Your relationship with God. It just is, man. There's no other cleaner way, clearer way to actually say it because when your relationship is on point with Him, when your relationship is defined and understood, built, structured, fully, submitted to the relationship with Him, you realize anger is a passing emotion and you give it on to him, you move on, you don't let it affect your temple mentally, physically, and you move forward. And it's interesting because he spoke of control, and that is one of the roots of anger because a sense of powerless. When you feel like you don't have any power, you're not able to control, correct, or approve a situation, something that could affect you. Sometimes anger basically breathes right there. It finds its oxygen. It starts there, especially control. And a lot of time with control is that when you realize you can't control something, you're fighting to control it. You don't think to yourself, this is out of my control. I can't handle this. There's nothing I can do about this. God has to do this. You find it within yourself to believe, I can do something about this. And once you take that path, and the more you can't, the more anger is going to build. It's going to improve. It's going to increase. And there goes again. Sometimes you do that so often, you're used to it. It may not feel, it may not feel like it's a bad thing because you have become accustomed to that feeling. And I want to kind of move us to this DeMaurice, because you spoke of, and this maybe I'll avoid you from this because you spoke of how you kind of basically internalize your anger, what you have done. Mr. Jones, you spoke of what you've done, so I'm away from that. But I'm going to come into this because this is the question I did have, and I wanted to kind of roll with because prior to us establishing, and even after establishing how we're going to deal with anger, and this is the one thing I think that we should not be doing with anger. Sometimes something in a previous relationship, Mr. DeMaurice, basically pushed our button. It flipped our switch. It was something we always responded to, and we take that anger and we transfer it to our next relationship, our relationship we may have in the future. And to me, whatever kind of happened there, anger or not, should have been, kind of put in a box and stay there. So the question would be, have you transferred in your life, if you think about it, have you transferred anger from one relation to another, sir?
I remember years ago when I ended a relationship in divorce. I didn't date for about 9 months to 12 months because I knew in my heart that I would be using that anger that I had in the situation, and really kind of transferring it to somebody else. And so I would tell, it wasn't like I wasn't meeting folks. I had uh, exes who found out about it. I met new women. And I'm like, listen, this is where I am right now. So I'm not really at a good place right now. And I learned how to do that in that process in my relationships going forward, not to bring in things from the past. Now I learned from the past, but not to say, okay, she's gonna be the same way as such and such and such and such. So I'm gonna do this right up front, right from the jump. So and you're sabotaging the relationship right there. So I don't know what I was going through. Maybe I talked to some people, or I remember talking to these older women on the train ride home, and they were like, you need to let things go. And they didn't even know me, but we talked a little bit. They found out about my situation, but I knew for that whole year I needed to kind of uh, heal, and I needed space to kind of make sure that I wasn't carrying all that toxic stuff that I got from that marriage into new relationships. And it took me about 9 months to a year to kind of figure it out, like, okay, I'm good now. I'm not, I don't see her in every woman that I see. And so I think it happened when I was, in my early 30s after the divorce. I'm like, okay, this is where I need to, really kind of make sure that I'm not following the same patterns, or I'm not thinking the same, or that I'm taking stuff that the bitterness that I had. And I really kind of put the emphasize the word bitterness, because I was really bitter. And so I need to get rid of that. I need to soften that. I need to put some honey on or whatever, so I don't carry that in the next relationship and ruin a relationship that I'm going into.
Yeah, that was a good thing to do, though. To me, I'm hearing detox, and we don't think about that from one relationship to the next. A detox, in a sense, and I'm glad to hear you have some people basically to say to you, you need to let that go. And it's amazing how when you need to hear something, God will send it to you. Whether you
Mm.
listen to it or not and reflect on it is your choice, but he finds people and ways to send things to you. Mr. Charles, basically taking bitterness, anger, kind of like the same thing, sound different, but they kind of roll up in the same kind of rap if you think about it, transporting it from one relation to another, sir.
Yeah, it's easy to do, as D. Marie said, because you don't give your chance. Don't give yourself time to heal, to recover from what you've been through, and two, you know that you're a little gun shy because that's what it takes. I think like a special person on the other side with that new person, but they might say something that may remind you of the previous relationship, and they might say something similar to what the last person said, and that can trigger something in you, would let you know you're not ready yet. And then a really strong woman will go, and a really aware woman will go, "Hey, look, I'm not that person, right? I'm not her. I'm not her. So you coming at me like I said the same thing. I'm not her. So please don't treat me like her. If you want to have something we want to discuss even further, let's get into it. Or maybe, as D. Marie said, you need to heal a little bit more before you come over this way. Because the smallest of things, particularly if you really were hurt or bothered by that, whatever the situation may be, if it's a sore spot for you, and anybody brings it up or mentions it, we are quick. I know I was quick to be triggered by. Hell, you talking about? No, I'm not. Yes, no. Yes, you are. No, I'm not. So you got to be very careful with that. And again, until you are healed, you need to be very careful. But it is easy to dive in, but some of us dive back into relationships too quickly because you're lonely or whatever, something or whatever. You trying to get over it and you trying to get back into the game, but sometimes you might need a timeout or a break.
Yeah. There's I want to come back to that in a few minutes about the relationship part of it. But there's common types of anger, and we probably never think about anger broken up into different types. But I want to name the three types that are most common, and then we kind of basically choose one or two we find ourselves, or we find ourselves now, or maybe been there in the past. And the three types start off with passive, and passive anger is like you avoid it. You're mad about something. You could be in a relationship where something's going on, and you kind of just avoid it, just kind of let it roll on. Aggressive, you react to it. You basically take it head on and you basically you're that's your action. Assertive anger is basically you see it for what it is and you try to find solutions. So if you had to choose one or two, Mr. Charles, that kind of live home with you, which one would they be, sir?
Hell, it used to be all three.
Yeah, yeah. Love that question.
I'm serious because you think about the past of it, you try to be in a relationship or in a situation where you just trying to, hey, I'm not gonna say nothing. I'm just gonna let it go and I'm gonna be cool. And then sooner or later you be like, wait a minute, man, how much more can I walk away from this, right? And then as far as the aggressive, it's like I'm gonna handle this right now. But I think the other part too, I would say I'm a little bit better on the passive now. I think I'm not sure passive is really so. It's passive, assertive, and what was the other one? I'm sorry.
Aggressive, passive, and aggressive, passive, and assertive. Those are the 3.
Okay, so I think I'm a
Hmm.
lot better with the passive now because if I don't want to deal with something, I just walk away from it. I'm just like, "All right, I'm not even gonna get mad. I'm not gonna deal with that. I try not to be aggressive. And DeMaurice knows that I'm a work in progress on that because when people come at me with things that they try to get across and they know what they're doing, that pisses me off. I ain't gonna lie, and I say that from the standpoint of because people do that. I'm not saying, but it's one thing to be joking, but it's another thing to be have some underlying connotation where you're trying to do something to get something over when you know what the hell somebody see. Teasing and joking is one thing, but when you know what you're doing, that's the whole thing. So I would say that, but I think I probably would say assertive from the assertive standpoint. I think I'm just kind of as we go along. That's one that's thing that's still in my life as we go along because I had to admit this. A good friend of mine, several friends say this. I think I'm still dealing with things when I was growing up as a kid, getting teased and dealing with stuff and never being able to say anything back because I didn't have anything to say or wasn't strong enough to say it from an emotional thing. But once I I was able to roll my tongue and got more assertive and my vocabulary grew and I knew I could speak, became a wordsmith. I was like, I wish a would say something to me. And, people, and then somebody told me, you don't have to respond to everything. And that's something I'm still working on. Everything that somebody says, you don't have to have an answer. You don't have to shoot right back at them. It's like I got a pistol. You like, what'd you say? Pow! What? Pow, pow, pow! I got a gun waiting to be shot to shoot at people for them shooting at me. So that's something I'm definitely still working on.
I'm gonna tell you something, man. If you grew up in the family that Mr. DeMaurice and I was in, teasing, man, please. You you woke up to be teased. I'm just gonna tell you like it is.
Yeah,
Either you
yeah.
learned to tease back or you just didn't make it, boss. Because our family, man, they once they and if they found out it was getting to you, oh please, man,
Oh no.
oh come on now, you just that was it. I'm gonna say for the most part, I don't really live in passive too much, man. I'm too, and I will admit at times I am too aggressive when it comes down to anger because my thing is I'm going to do it right away. Bang! My reaction, my voice, my tone is going to face it head on. And at some point, I may fall into assertive, but I probably could do a better job of being aggressive about it. And for me, it's like I kind of sense where, like you said, Mr. Charles, it's not like because it just happens, but by sense where you're trying to do something, undermine, take advantage, don't show consideration. Those are the things will basically get my aggression to of anger right there and to react to. Assertive is in a sense I will be at times because you want to try to find solutions. You just don't want to kind of basically just feel anger of like okay, what can I do better about this? But I'm not going to be assertive for long because I will try. But once I realize it's not much I can do with it, then that's that. Passive, in a sense, avoidance, I'm not going to necessarily try to avoid it for the most part. Because to me, what happens, I notice when you avoid something that someone's trying to do to you and you don't kind of you look the other way, they feel now they could do more of that to you. They feel now that you will take it on upon yourself. And what I realized with passive aggression or passive anger years ago is if you don't kind of deal with it, it grows inside of you and then you bust and you explode over something that really shouldn't be busting and exploding over. So for me, when I'm aggressive or about it, I deal with it at that moment and it's gone. Once I deal with it, I feel good. I can move on, and I don't. The anger doesn't linger on for me. I dealt with it when what was said, pleasing or non-pleasing, what might have been said back to me, same thing. I move on, and I leave it there. So that's how I kind of always saw myself dealing with being passive aggressive or assertive, and I still am that way to this day. I just choose to basically, I'm not going to make you feel like you came here, took a swipe, and I kind of look the other way. I mean, that's just not my makeup. That's not my DNA. Mr. DeMaurice, passive aggressive or assertive, sir?
I think I touch on all three. There's sometimes where I am passive because the situation calls for it to, like, nah, you don't really want to engage in this right now. I think I'm more assertive now because I want to get to the source of the problem. I'm like, okay, where is this coming from? Let's get to the source. Let's deal with the source. I don't deal with emotions. I don't deal with, feelings and all that stuff. Let's get to the source of the problem and deal with the problem, and let's take our feelings out of it. Aggressive. I do admit that I can be aggressive. And usually it's more aggression towards the verbal, because I can be very sharp and very cutting in what I say, and and that's a way to get you to understand that what you said or what you just did is not appreciated, and I see it, and we're going to deal with it, and you're not going to do it again, or else it's going to escalate this particular scenario. So I can see myself touching on all three aspects in different situations in life, but more of trying to get to the source of the issue, and getting the feelings and emotions out of the way and saying, okay, what's the source of this? Where is this coming from? Let's deal with that. And then, if you want to be emotional after that, that's fine. But as long as we get the problem solved, then let's do that first.
Yeah. I remember a question I've asked someone years ago, and you know, just starting to kind of have some conversation. And she was married for a period of time. Was away from this person at this time. And I said to her, "So what did you learn?" And she said to me, Mr. Maurice, it was his fault.
Mm,
So in hearing that, I had kind of response what you had. I didn't say anything. I was just like, okay, you ain't ready. You're not ready.
mm,
You're not ready. So I want to basically take that same question to us three gentlemen because you spoke of, your marriage. I think, Mr. Charles, you spoke of something different. But if I was to ask you, and it's years removed, but if you can go back to that time, sir, and if I was to ask you that question within the 9 months after, when it was divorce or resoluted, or what are they called? Dissoluted, whatever they call it when you get divorced. Remember, I got those papers in the mail. I looked at that word. I was like, man, there's a nice word here. But anyway, when you go
mm.
back to that time, what were if I were to say to you, Mr. DeMaurice, what have you learned? What would you think you may have said?
What I learned is to not um, settle for something because let me back up. We were kind of taught as men is that, no matter how bad it gets, you stay in there, you do what you can, but to try to save or salvage, and you hear and don't hear. I used to hear my father say that all the time. You hear and don't hear, things of that sort. But I got to a point for me that it was really affecting my mental health and my physical health. And I'm like, I started thinking about the older uncles who stayed in marriages and were always sick and never came out and never saw them. They were always angry. And I'm like, I don't want to be like that. I don't want to follow in those footsteps. So it took a while for me to come to the understanding in myself that I'm like, you know what, this is not for me. And maybe some people will consider it a failure, but I got to do what's best for me. And in that, I had to learn that, it's not always about the other person all the time. Is you got to do what's best for you. And if you can find somebody who you can bring out the best in them and they can bring out the best in you, and you guys are doing what's in the best interest of each other as well as you two individually, that's the person you need to be with. And don't settle for anything less. Don't settle for anything less than the best from the person that you're with. And for me, I settled for much less than what I thought I should have. And I got tired of giving my best and not getting that back in return, because there was the person that I was with just didn't have the capacity to do that. And I had to come to grips with that, and that I needed to be wiser when I chose my future mates, and making sure that that person is going to be that person that I needed and they needed, and that we can work on things together and we can grow together, and that we can be a united front instead of what we be on the team, as Charles said, instead of an opponent. And that was the biggest lesson that I learned.
It's deep, boss. It's real deep and profound when you think about it for an individual. Yeah, the selling part, and you're right. A lot of times we get in situations, it could be a marriage or a relationship, and things are rolling, and we think, okay, I'll just ride this out. We don't think there's much better, and this is just what we kind of basically have to face and kind of make it work. And I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with that if that's what you choose to do, but you kind of really led into what I was going to basically say is because some of that I experienced, but I'll take it a little different too. And I think sometimes this happens with people that, and I know I experienced it. Um, you know, my grandma used to always say, and you probably remember this, Mr. DeMaurice, Mr. Mark, if it ain't in them, it's not in them.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember the first time she said that, Grandma, what are you talking about? And she just chuckled. She didn't really elaborate. It took a few more times her saying that. And what basically she means is that if that person doesn't possess the qualities that you need, you can't put them there.
Yeah.
You may want them there, but they can't. They can't see it for themselves. You can't give that to them. In reality, in the case with her, I saw potential that she couldn't see in her. And I figured her potential would be good for the both of us. I could see that all day. Want it, desire it, write it down, put it on the refrigerator, speak about it. If if she's not manifesting, it's not going anywhere. So in my head, I got to think, okay, if that's the reality, what can I do with this? Can I accept it and be happy for the days yet to come, and live with that, or should I have to basically put myself in a situation where I'm not going to sit around and wait because I have a life to live? I'm not going to sit around and wait for those potentials to manifest if that person doesn't see it. Now I could speak to them about it, have a conversation, but if they turn the volume down or turn the volume off, and they're not open to it, no, 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 because I need that in my life. If I'm giving it to you, I need that in my life, and if you can't give that, then we're not to be together. Doesn't mean I care less about you, whatever. But I would not, and I don't want to run to the phrase how life length is, whatever case may be. But I'm not going to spend my days involved in something that's not beneficial to the both of us. It's not. We both have a lot to offer each other. It shouldn't be someone throwing this in the pool and you kind of kick some rocks in the pool and feel like that's enough. So once that is kind of laid out, there's some decisions to make, and those decisions were made. So, Mr. Charles, what you've learned, man, something you have learned, you could choose, something that you went through in a relationship where you had to kind of basically, you moved out of it. When you look back, if you were to ask, what did you learn? What would you have said?
Yeah, I think, and particularly in a couple relationships, but one that I was really involved with, I thought it might have led to something more. And part of that is the factor that you have to really almost command or definitely let people know it's important that you need to have an appreciation for your person, and people need to have an appreciation for you. So if you're with somebody, you're connected with them or whatever, you're in a relationship, even with a marriage, for me, even before you get to the marriage, a person needs to appreciate you because there's so many other options out there of people that are not for them, or they're not good people, or they don't treat them right. And therefore, if you're presenting that and showing some good things, your person needs to appreciate them. You needs to appreciate you, and you should appreciate your person. But I also think too that people go, well, nah, I'm good, or they don't. Some people don't realize it. And as you said, I think your grandmother was spot on. If it ain't in them, it ain't in them. So maybe that's not the person for you, because if you're a person that, and to come back to the teammate point of it. If I can't cut you, I got to make you better, or you got to help make the team better. We're not just gonna be stagnant because we gonna stay where we at. We're gonna die. The relationship's gonna die because it's not moving forward. But I think it's time to understand that, like anything else, people make time for things and people that matter to them. And people can always say, "Oh, I'm real so busy. I'm gonna get back to you because of my schedule." Somebody really cares about you, they really value you, they gonna make time for you. This is how it is. And if they too damn busy and they don't understand it, they're lost. You'll need to be with them because you're not important to them. But they always take care of that person, whoever in their life. They're always there for them. But they won't. They put you on the back of. They put you on the. I used to call myself the emergency boyfriend. So I'll be put on the shelf until they needed me. They break the glass, and when you needed me emergency, here comes Super Charles to save the day. Otherwise, when they don't need me, they put me back on the shelf, back in the glass case.
I like that. Break the case in emergency. Gentlemen, we've basically come to the point where it's our first show of the year, 2022-5, or 22-5, I should say. And Mr. Charles, come back to you, man. Be your first question of 2025 if you have one. We'll spend some time dicing it up, my brother.
So, brand new year, brand new clean slate, all other stuff. That's what you went into. What are three things that you would say, goals or whatever, that you want to accomplish in this new year? And there had to be no, well, I'm gonna go back to the gym, or I mean, just some things that you naturally, easily going like, I really would like to do this year.
Yeah. One of them is really solidifying some things I've been working on. And that's kind of more or less in the business part of things, kind of really solidify the foundation and watch that kind of prosper and grow. I would say that's one. Um, Two, probably basically, even with that, find ways to service other people a little bit more. Not saying I don't do that now, but be of service a little bit more. Um, Sometimes you find yourself being of service to people, and there's a part of you that come back and go, well, they ain't doing it to service you, but that's okay. But really be more of a service to individuals. And it was a guy. I was in Dunkin' Donuts um, about a week or 2 weeks ago, and this may not seem like a line of exactly what I'm saying, but I'll just say it anyway. So I was just going to order myself some hot chocolate. The cat comes in, he looks at me, we speak, and he's not even looking at me, and he's looking up at the menu. And I said to him, "Hey man, what should we think about getting?" He said, I'm gonna do. I'd like to get one of those sausage croissants. I said, "Yeah, that's what you want?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "You know what? Grab one of them." He said, "You got?" I said, "Yeah, man, I got you." He said, "Man, you don't know." I said, "Man, don't even worry about it." I said, "I'm getting a hot chocolate, so get yourself a drink too." So when the cat came to take our order, I said, "I'll give him two." And I said, "I'm getting a hot chocolate." He said, "Give me a hot chocolate as well." Same way, large with the whipped cream. And he went on to start telling me, man, this guy from that point on, when to start telling me he's living in a shelter. How he basically has been clean for the past 40 days. He hasn't done anything, and he's basically going on. He said to me how his wife was on about something last year. He really would listen. Now he understands exactly what she's saying, and he wants to do better. Before long, man, he's into a conversation. He's pulling out the Bible, showing me Bible verses. And, I'm saying to myself, how did this really happen? So, of course, he got his food. He wasn't expecting. I gave him money to go with it. We talked a little bit, wish your brother well. And for me, we are blessed beyond blessed. Sometimes I don't even use the word blessed anymore because we're beyond blessed. Man, I look at us as three individuals, man. We have lived a life. I'm 62. Mr. Jones, you're not too far behind me. D. Maurice, you're not too far behind me. And if our breath was taken away, we lived a life, gentlemen. And we lived a life where we don't know nothing about that. So just to be service to others, to me, man, that's huge. And the third thing, if I had to pull something, is yeah, man, it's as simple as this sound. I do a lot of this. Laugh. I want to laugh more. I just want to laugh more, man. I do a lot of that, and I want to laugh more. I don't, I want to take what I'm laughing now and time it by one and two, and keep on laughing, man, because laughter is my joy. It helps my health, my strength, my mind in so many ways. The hormones that it gives me, I want more. I just want more, man. If I got to play the honeymooners all day, make that happen, I'll do it, Mr. DeMaurice. Your response to a good question, sir.
Yeah, that's some good stuff, man. It's some stuff that I'm not going to repeat because that those are your things, but some things that are similar. I want to be more disciplined, and so I look to be more disciplined in all my actions, whether it's at work or creative projects or my spirituality or any physical activities I'm in. Just want to be more disciplined. I want to be better at the things that I'm doing, and I want to take on new challenges. There's some challenges that are out there that's still yet to be done that have been lingering, and I'm looking forward to looking at it and see whether or not that the Creator gives me the strength to and the time to go after it and how that will benefit not only myself but the people around me. So those are the three things.
There it is, Mr. Charles. Good question, man. You always come up with good questions, man. Most of the time, I ain't gonna say all the time, but most of the time, you come up pretty good, my brother. What you got for your response, man?
Man, you always saying something.
Jumping on that one last
You know
nerve,
what I'm
ain't
saying? I was trying to be. I said, you know what? One of my on my list. I was like, I'm gonna try to get along and be nice to the monk, right? I was just on my list. But you know what? I said, he keep coming. I'm gonna keep praying for him because he keep coming for me. I was like, you know what? That's okay. But that's how it works sometimes. But it's
Part
all
of the
Oh
good.
family
man.
now, bro. That just means you part of the family.
Yeah. Look. What they say, love you is wrong. I don't want to be right. But nah, all good though. All good. I think one would be start to actually finish projects I started. And one of the things I've been talking about forever is my book. And we're gonna get that done. We're so close. I was able to
Man, don't
share.
get me started.
I was able
Don't
to.
get me
I
started.
was able to share. D. Maurice and I talked about a week ago or so, and I knew he was taking this trip. Right, he was taking 2 trips, and I was like, you know what? I've been saying a lot of stuff I never really came through like I said I was going to. So I said I'm gonna do it. I'm close, and I want to get the final version, at least where I'm final editing. And I said I wanted him to read it before I really, put it out there or whatever. And I said I'm gonna make this. I'm gonna make a declaration that I'm gonna have this ready for him to read before he leaves or finishes up his holiday trips. And I was able to do that. And so now I gave it to him, and I want to just be able to do. There's a couple other things I want to get done. I want to finish these projects early that I said I wanted to do. The other thing too is I want to reclaim my creativity. What I mean by that is it's kind of like what's in your bag. When I was younger, we were creatives. I mean, a lot more. I was a lot more busy. I was writing 52 columns a year for a newspaper. And I know I'm getting older. I don't feel like doing all that, but I want to reclaim my creativity to a point where it's joyous, man. I want to get that thing, that hunger that made me go, man, I just want to do this and do that. And I think by doing that, that will allow me to dive into something else where I can share, I can teach, I can encourage more. and also coaching and stuff like that too. I want to dive more into that, but it starts with my creativity so I can share what I have and push that into other people. And then finally, I think in just simple, I literally want to, as simple as it may sound, people say it all the time, but I want to start living life to the fullest. And what I mean by that, I want to experience things that I really want to do without holding back. And I think sometimes I will not do something because I don't need to do that or something. But from the standpoint of being the best I can be physically, mentally, or just experiencing things like, for instance, if you don't really need anything and we're blessed, as you said, Mark. But you know what? Like yesterday, I was like, man, I really need to buy some more. I need a couple more pairs of dress pants. I was like, oh, you don't need that. Why are you getting that? I was like, the hell with that. I'm going out today and buy me a pair of dress pants that I need for my little ensemble, my little outfits. So just really rewarding myself, taking care of me, because I try to take care of many people before myself. I put them before me. Really just saying, hey, you've been working your tail off, doing some things. Why not treat yourself? And I remember a young man, may he rest in peace, because I used to kind of work with him in counseling and stuff with a camp. And he used to say, ask me what I really want. And I said, I don't really need anything. I got everything that I want. And he clearly told me, Mr. Charles, sometimes you need to treat yourself. And I said, damn it, you're right. May he rest in peace.
There it is. Mr. DeBreeze, your question, sir.
It's kind of a question, but well, I know we were talking about songs the other week, and we were talking about the Smokey Robinson song, "Daylight and Darkness." But there's another song I've been playing, and I guess it was because of the holidays. I usually go back into the music that I grew up with and go back and listen to them again. I know this is Christmas songs, but some of the music that our aunts and uncles used to have, the little house parties and or get-togethers, and they would be playing. But I've been listening to this song lately. It's a blues song by Bobby Womack called "That's the Way I Feel About You." And man, I don't know about y'all, but when I listen to some of this music now, that this stuff was going over my head as a kid. When I listen to them now, it's like, man, these folks were foretelling what we were going to see in all
Yes,
these
sir.
relationships.
Yeah.
So, what song stands out to you that you might have listened to last week, or you've been listening to, or it's been on replay for a while? Because Bobby Womack, and I'm gonna come up with this every now and then. I want y'all to listen to "That's the Way I Feel About You." Man, it took me back. So what song do you guys listen to, or you've been listening to lately, that kind of brings you back and kind of says, you know what, I lived through that, and you just have to wave your hand, close your eyes and wave your hand in the air like you know what he's talking about?
You're right, man. Back then, they wrote songs that had impact, had emotional bearing. It basically stuff that either the artist or the writer basically kind of experienced, and they found a way to put to music with hooks and everything that just had you moving to. And sometimes the music was so good, like you said, the lyrics and stuff would go over your head. But there was a gospel song, man, that I want to look for the title now because I have it in my playlist. I want to make sure I say it correctly. But I found myself kept playing. Yes, it's by Brian Courtney Wilson. And this guy's the good singer. The song is Already Here, and it just aligned with what I was always felt. And it's like a lot of times we're basically seeking and asking God, but God's already there. It's like He basically knows what you want, what you need. It's already there. And it's amazing to me. It's like a lot of times you hear people crying out. And I'm not trying to go against that, but He never leaves us. He never leaves us. And I always believe that. So it's like that's the song, man, that I found when I came across it like a week or 2 weeks ago. It just kept getting played. And it just kept going over and over again. And one other song I'm going to drop in is James Cleveland. Damn, what's the name of that one? Jesus is the best thing ever happened to me. You're talking about life story. That song right there, man. Because last night did a version of it, and he kind of took it and put it into a gospel spin. And the best thing that ever happened to me. Your choices, Mr. Charles.
See, I was gonna go another way. You start talking that gospel thing, you messed
Yeah, man.
everything
Like
up.
you, like I was saying, like
Cause,
It
'cause
speaks
that
for
James
itself.
Cleveland,
you ain't listening to
yeah,
all
yeah,
that secular music.
that James Cleveland you talking about, man. That's
Hmm.
one of my favorite songs of all time. That one and the
Yes.
one where they talk about where you know your where I think Rance, can't think of the gentleman's name. Rant, the gentleman with the voice, where he talks about you took my mother, you took my father. You
Yeah.
know, yeah.
Jordan.
Oh my
Yes. Yep.
God, man.
Yeah.
Oh my God, man.
Hmm.
Them two songs right there. I cannot
Hmm.
listen to those songs without crying, bro,
Look
because they
out now.
speak.
Look out.
You know, think about all of the stuff and what, no matter what, we're still here. So yeah, now I'm gonna let you over to God. I'm gonna go back to the secular because because I'm not talking about the gospel songs. I might start tearing up over here. So I'm gonna hold that because I might need a moment later on about 4:30 when I need to go back and listen to that James Cleveland. But right now, I'm going to the secular, bro. So with that being said, I had two of them. One, this song, ever since I was a kid, we used to listen to it at skating, and it was just so real. It was a nice tune, and I was singing it. I like the man singing, but when I understood what it meant, and to this day, I'm like, man, this is so real because it hits on how people deal with things, even no matter how it is, and how people care about one another. And my favorite probably is Billy Paul, me and Mrs. Jones, bro.
Hmm.
Hmm.
My man
Okay.
said same place, same time, and we both know it's wrong. We both know it's wrong. God damn it! But you know what? We're gonna be here on Tuesday at 6:15. We got a thing
6:15.
going on. We same place. We're gonna be here. We both know it's wrong, but that's how we connected. I am to you, and we just got our thing. We know that's wrong, but the other one is, which is a favorite of mine, and I'm trying to be better by not dealing with this, but it spoke to me because it was like, even though we know that things are society sees things a certain kind of way, this song speaks to there are certain people in your life, if you're, or particularly as we talk about women, that they just it's all about you. And even if you not saying that you're married, but you're a single person or you're dating, you might be entertaining other people, but this person just gets you and they're gonna be there for you. It might be a 5 year relationship, 10 year. You know you can always count on them. And this is SOS band, and the lead singer by name, her name is Mary, the lead singer, and the song is just the way you like it,
Hmm.
and it just talks directly to us that look, you can keep your other girls until you settle down, until you settle down, but whenever you need love, I will give it to you just the way you like it. Now, damn it, that's the truth. That's the truth. Get them other girls. I ain't even tripping. As long as I'm number one in your life, you do what you gotta do. Cause I know I can't change you, but damn it, I got to be number one. And when you want a real, whenever you need love, I give it to you just the way you like it. Go on, Mary. And I know I'm going. It's Sunday, and people go like, "You ain't nothing but a hoe." You know what? I'm not a hoe. I might wear a whole uniform, but leave that right there.
That's Mr. Charles' national anthem. I'm gonna throw a name out, but Cap, I come back to Mr. Charles. I mean, Mr. DeMaurice, with your response to this. But I heard him sung a song the other day, man. Felipe Win.
Yeah,
We
man.
were cheated, man, because that cat didn't sing enough songs to me, man. When you
Hmm.
go back and just study his, I mean, there was no more. That brother was soulful, soulful. Early one Sunday morning, come on,
Hmm.
man. Felipe Win. Then he had the nerve to turn around and go to Parliament. Oh my goodness, man. Your response, Steve Maurice. Your
First of
response.
all, can I come back after that when you get
Yeah,
done?
yes,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
yes,
yeah, yeah,
yes.
Shut your mouth. Anyway, come back to me, please.
Go ahead.
yeah. Felipe went. He's with the Spinners, right?
Yeah, he started there. Yep.
I was watching a videotape not too long ago where he was singing "Mighty Love," and all the rest of the members left the stage. He was still sitting there singing with the music, and they had to drag him off the stage. They literally
Oh.
had to drag him off the stage because he was in that
Oh.
moment. He was in that moment. But
Hmm.
yeah, take the time, folks. Take the time to listen to some of the old, because the newer music, and I hate to sound like the old dude, but the newer music doesn't give anything to the imagination, and I can't relate to it because it's like the situations are like so far fetched. It's like, okay, I don't live in that world anymore. But when I go back to the music of the even the 80s, 70s, and 60s, even the 50s, I mean, some of the blues songs, R&B, they were really telling stories. And you think about it when you sit there and listen to the lyrics, and you go, "Wait a minute, I haven't been through that one. But they ain't never lying."
Mm-hmm.
And I would notice the reaction of the older people in the family. I know me and Pop will be in his truck sometimes, and some music comes on, and he'll just start shaking his head and smiling. And I'm just sitting there laughing with him because I'm like, "Man, I know a story coming on with this. Give me the story." So it's relatable. It's good music. Like I said, I hate to sound old fashioned, but man, in the '70s and '60s and '70s, man, they were putting it down, man. And for us not to really kind of go back as a people and recapture those talented, creative kind of juices and make music like that again would be a disgrace. The way music is going, the direction it's going in today, it would be a disgrace not to, not to go back and put some soul back into music.
Yeah, it's kind of disgrace already, boss, because they ain't trying. They ain't trying. They're still the hook from it. Felipe Wim, Mr. Charles, you have some words about that, brother.
Man, I'm gonna tell y'all something, bro. I love the Spinners. I love Felipe Win, and then of course when after he left went to Parliament, but of course he mentioned Mighty Love. The song Sadie, man, it's another song
Sadie,
I
ooh,
can't listen to.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
Premier of Ladies, man, are you
Woo,
serious? You talking about my
raw.
mama, bruh? You talking about
Yeah.
my mama, bruh? Please, whoa, oh my God. Boy, boy,
Oh,
boy, boy, boy. You talk about a song, man. And then of course he went to Parliament. And then when he became Uncle Jam, and when that brother hit that little I call it the little solo where he on knee deep, and he
uh-huh.
said, make no mistake, that
Nick.
funk music makes got it what it takes to groove you sometimes, knock you down, make you want to turn around and do it one more time. And there's something about the music that makes me grooves me. Rob Fleece, man. Man,
Yeah.
that solo part, because you go from the nice, easygoing Felipe Win, and now we switching over to true hardcore funk. That brother got the solo, and he's still taking you to church in on knee
Yeah.
deep, boy. You can't. I
Yeah.
don't know how you can listen to that song and not feel something. Cause
You
that
got to
boy,
Yeah.
jump up on that song. I jump up now on that song.
yeah,
Come on,
I'm
when that brother
serious.
Yes,
jump in,
sir.
And
Yeah.
he
preach it,
about to go
preach it.
something about the music grooves me, yeah. Then they come back to the original tune. How do y'all know? If you don't look, let me say one last thing. If y'all not familiar with funk, bruh, we might have to come on this show and do a little sample. Mark, I think we should do a little section in the next couple of weeks. When we come up, and we don't even have to play the music, but let's come up with a list of must hear tunes from slow jams to funk that you just have to listen to. You ain't never heard in your life. We're going to give you a treat on a section one time, give you something that you must play for yourself in your lifetime. You haven't heard it yet.
Go, man. Write it down. We'll do that in about 2 or 3 episodes coming down the road. We'll take how many songs you guys want to do a piece. We'll write it down, and whatever song you speak of, you got to give a story behind it, tell what's going on, why it is what it is. It will happen in one Black Man Talk. Good, Mr. Charles, like that, man. You just created an episode, boss. Hey, I'll put a lid on this one. Thank you two gentlemen for doing what you always do, Mr. D. Maurice, Mr. Charles, Mark Elliott. It's 2025. We're going to kick the door in and keep doing what we do. Appreciate you giving us a listen wherever you listen and how you listen to us. We love you for it. God love you as well. Take care of yourself.